Hey guys, so we'll be solving another problem today, that is trailing zeros, and this is from 10 days of codes series on hacker blogs. So the question says, given a integer n, we want to write a function that returns the count of trailing zeros in n factorial, which means you need to compute the value of n factorial and count number of zeros at the ending of that number. But this is something little tricky, because if n is a large number, then you cannot compute n factorial. Clearly you can see n is a very large number. It is of the order 10 raised to the power 9, which means n factorial can be very large. Okay, so let me show you a single input output. So as you can see here, n is given as 5, and we know output n factorial is 120, and it has a single trailing zero, so the output here is 1. And similarly you can have lot more zeros if the number is large. So what makes this problem tricky is this large value of n. Okay, and we clearly know to store large factorials we need lot of digits, and the largest number that we can store in long int is of the order 10 raised to the power 18, which means we can store at most 18 digits in long int. And this is something we cannot do with 10 raised to the power 9 factorial. That would clearly mean uh, at least 10 raised to the power 9 digits. Okay, so this number of digits we cannot store in long int, so we cannot compute factorial. Second is the issue with the complexity. If you compute n factorial, it is going to take order of n time, and if you do something in order of n time, it will also give you TLE. So both, we have a memory issue, we have a time limit issue. So which means we have to think something different. We have to come up with a way which allows us to compute the number of trailing zeros directly without worrying about the value of n factorial. Okay, so we are going to look at a method in which we can directly know the number of zeros in n factorial without calculating the value of n factorial. This is what we are going to do in this video. So let me give you example of, let's say, 10 factorial. Okay, so we are interested in finding out what is the number of zeros if we compute 10 factorial or 100 factorial also. Okay, so clearly 10 factorial is written like this. So 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, and yeah, so this is what 10 factorial is. Now if you want to know what is the number of zeros in 10 factorial, okay, so you are basically looking for maybe we can say this number is something multiplied by 10, something multiplied by 10, if this number has two zeros. Okay, so we basically want how many times 10 occurs in 10 factorial. So one time it is occurring is here. Okay, another time it is occurring is when you multiply 2 and 5. This also makes 10, so that means you will get 110 from here and you will get 110 from here. Okay, so we are interested in finding the number of times factors of 10 are coming. Factors of 10, so factors of 10 are 2 and 5. And also we know the number of occurrences of okay, so we can combine 1 2 with 1 5 to make a 10. Okay, and we can also say occurrences of 2 will be much larger than occurrences of 5. So if we know occurrences of 5 in n factorial, we can definitely find out how many zeros will be there. Okay, so number of zeros will be same as occurrences of 5 in 10 factorial. So this is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so occurrences of 5. So how do you find occurrences of 5? So then for that you have a very basic formula. Okay, maybe you have studied in school also. If you want to compute how many powers of 5 are present in 10 factorial, so you can say I will divide 10 by 5, take the floor, then I will divide 10 by 5 square, take the floor. I will keep on doing this until this is 0. Okay, so this is 0, so I will stop here. So this is nothing but 2 plus 0. So there are two occurrences of 5, and hence 10 factorial will have two zeros. Okay. Or if you want to see in 100 factorial, then what will you will do? You will divide 100 divided by 5. Okay. So how many multiples of 5 are there? How many multiples of 25 are there? Okay. So 5 square, and then you do 100 divided by 5 cube, and since this is 0, this is 20, this is 4, and so the final answer is 24. So in 100 factorial you will have 24 trailing zeros. Okay, 24 trailing zeros. So this is how you can actually compute the trailing zeros. Okay, and if you're not sure why this is true, you can actually see if you want to count number of fives in 100. Okay, so let's try to break it down like this: 1 2 3 4 5, then let's say 10, then let's say 15, then let's say 20, 25, and so on. Okay, so this is 50 and so on. Okay, so if you want to count the number of fives, so 1 5 is coming from here, 1 5 is coming from here, 1 5 is coming from here, 1 5 is coming from here. So number of fives will be nothing but 100 by 20. Okay, but there are some numbers like 25. So for these numbers you have more than one 5. This is 5 square, this is 5 into 5 into 2, and then you have 75, this is 5 into 5 into 3, and you have 100, which is 5 into 5 into 4. So these numbers are contributing 5 two times. Okay, so if you want to extract powers of 5, so you will also add these numbers which are contributing 5 two times. So that's why we divided by 5 square. So we count how many powers of 5 are coming twice, and one of them was already included when you do 100 by 20. So this is 20 and this is 4, and this becomes 24, and if you do powers of 5 cube, they are actually 0. Okay, so for any number which is between 1 to 100, you don't have okay, you need a number which is at least 125 to extract a power which is 5 cube. So we have this term as 0. Okay, and if we talk about powers of 2, so powers of 2 will be definitely more than powers of 5, because you can extract a 2 from here, you can extract a 2 from here, and you know every second number is an even number. Okay, so there are a lot of even numbers as compared to numbers which are containing 5 as a factor. Okay, so lot of even numbers. So powers of 2 are more than powers of 5. So let's say there are 10 powers of 2 and there are 5 powers of 5. Okay, so in such a case you will only have 5 number of trailing zeros, because you can combine 5 of the 2's with 5 of the 5's to get 5 zeros. Okay, so this is the whole idea. And if you want to compute trailing zeros now, you can directly compute it without computing the factorial. The only thing that you need to do is run a loop like this. Okay, so you go to you do n by whatever is the number you have. Let's say number is d, then you do n by d square, then you do n by d cube, unless this term is greater than 0. Okay, so let's start by writing some code. And here I am just going to write the function that is going to compute the number of trailing zeros. And as you can see here, I have written the main part. So I take input n and I call this function file zeros, and here I give n. Okay, so what I need to do, I need to create a variable called answer, which is 0, and I can say while answer divided by some power of 5. Okay, so let's say initial power of 5 is 5 raised to the power 1, and we can say while this is greater than equal to 1 or greater than 0, what we will do, we will, sorry, this should be n. Okay, so while n divided by whatever is my current power, this is greater than 0, I will add n divided by p to my answer. Okay, so for example, if n is 100 and p is 5, so it's 100 by 20, and for the next time I will say power equals to power into 5, and here I return answer. So if you're having some doubt, let me clear what I'm trying to say. Let's say n is 100, okay, so we will do n 100 divided by p is initially 5, so 100 by p, and this is added to our answer. Then for the next time I say p is p into 5, so this is 100 divided by 5 square, so we add 4 to our answer. Next time this is 100 divided by 5 cube, so this is clearly 0, and we will come out of the loop and we will return the answer. So this will return the answer 24. Okay, so this is what we are trying to do, and that's it. So let's submit the code and see. Okay, so the whole goal was to teach you without computing n factorial you can still compute trailing zeros, and given the constraints of the problem you have to judge what approach to follow. Do you really need to compute the factorial, or if you compute the factorial, will you be able to compute it in the given time and the memory? Okay, so it's not like that you cannot compute big factorials. You can compute big factorials in C++, but for this problem they are actually not needed. Okay, so that's all for this video. Thanks a lot.